What up? It's Jimmy from odds.com. This is a clip from the big NHL show for Tuesday, January 26th. To check out the entire show, hit the link at the bottom of the screen. It's available exclusively on odds.com. We move on. Panthers at Blue Jackets. 7 p.m. Eastern in Columbus. Florida opens up at plus 100. They've now become a slightly bigger dog, a plus 106, plus 107. I'm on the Jackets here on the -1 line. I got minus 120 on the money line, plus 190 on the puck line. That gave me a -1 line of plus 132. Florida Panthers have only played 2 games this year. They're 2-0. Jackets are 2-2-2, 1-0-1 at home, Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio. Panthers power play in 2 games was against the Blackhawks penalty killing. A very, very weak group without Taves. Johnny Taves out there, it changes. But Taves out for the season. This is a very weak penalty killing group. So, and the Blackhawks are a tricky team to face because they have such high-end talent, and they're on this card. So we'll talk about them later. Offensive talent. But the Panthers' power play in those 2 games went 37.5%. Their penalty killing was just 40% against the Blackhawks. The Jackets have the same issue as they had last year and the year before. They can't score on the power play. And they're starting to get snipers, and Line A is going to be in this lineup after the quarantine. That's got to help their power play unit. But their power play unit right now clicking at 7.7%. And the issue is Domi and Atkinson are having a very poor start to the year. But now Torts has Nick Foligno, the captain, Mr. Accountability up there with him. So we'll see if that changes. 84.6% penalty killing is something you can always count on. We'll get to the Jackets in a second. I'll start with the Panthers. They've had a very strange start to the beginning. Start-stop beginning of the season. They were supposed to play their first 2 games against Dallas. They were canceled or postponed because of COVID. Then they played 2 games against Chicago. Then they were supposed to play 2 games against Carolina. Those games canceled or postponed because of COVID. And then they had another game scheduled versus Dallas that was postponed. So they beat the lowly Blackhawks in 2 games. But this team disappoints year after year. I love Alexander Barkov's size, skill, face-off winning, defensive accountability. He's a very strong defensive center as well with this high-end skill set. And I'm surprised that he's the number 26th ranked center in Corsi ratings. And it makes me want to watch him more and more and more to find out what exactly is he missing in his game. Huberdeau is a top scorer, but neither Huberdeau and Barkov aren't playing together. They've split them up, and neither have talent with them on the line. And I think they will have a difficult time scoring. We didn't get to see that example against the Blackhawks because the Blackhawks are such a weak hockey team, weak defensively. They bring in Alexander Wenberg, perennial underachiever with the Blue Jackets. Now, Torts is very hard on first-round draft picks. So maybe he just needed to get out of Torts' dressing room, get into a new group. But Corsi rankings have Wenberg as the number 122nd ranked center in the NHL. Is that a top 6 forward to you? I mean, by Corsi ratings, it is not. Edu Luostarinen and Owen Tippett have very high upsides. They're young players that could be good, but it's going to take them a while to develop. I see this Panthers team as worse than they were last year. And the last 2 seasons, I had high hopes for this Panthers squad. I do not this year. And I've often blamed the Panthers being unsuccessful on Aaron Ekblad. I've always put that pressure on him as a first overall draft pick. And maybe it's unfair. And when we watch Rasmus Dahlin now on the third line unit with the Sabres, a -5 in 6 games, you can tell it's tough being a number 1 pick for a defenseman. Eric Johnson, he's been a perennial underachiever. And there's another defenseman down there in Florida that I compare him to, and that's Victor Hedman, who's been spectacular. You want to see Hedman and Doughty as number 2 overall picks be great players. You know, the building blocks for Stanley Cup winning teams, both of them. The Panthers could move forward if Sergei Bobrovsky steps up or plays up to the level of his contract, and I'm not going to wait for that to happen. I'm not going to sit here and expect Bob to step up. How long do we he's a very streaky goaltender, one that I don't trust, the one that I wouldn't have given that giant contract to. The Jackets come off the major trade, Dubois for Line A. Line A's in quarantine, not available. He will add some much-needed scoring to that team. A story that's not talked about very much right now is that Mikko Koivu, the longtime captain of the Minnesota Wild, is going to make his Columbus Blue Jacket debut. And for a fourth-line centerman, I think they're in a great spot. He's just such a quality player, quality guy, and he will make players accountable. And I think he'll fit in the Torts system rather well. Max Domi and Cam Atkinson, I've said they look terrible so far together. They've moved Foligno onto that line, but Atkinson and Domi have 0 goals combined. They're at -9. And Zach Werenski and Seth Jones are off to very slow starts. I still believe this is the best defensive tandem in the NHL. They haven't shown that so far this year, but they will. I expect them to. I think sometime soon this Columbus Blue Jacket team will be bet on. Do we wait for Laine? Maybe we should wait for Laine. I'm not going to. I'm going to bet them here tonight, Tuesday, January 26th. Jackets -1 at +132. That's a -120 money line and a +190 puck line.